Pittsburgh Steelers trading for Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears for just a 6th-round pick. Justin Fields, obviously a former 1st-round pick after just 3 seasons in the NFL. Now, Kate, I'm mostly interested in your take on who you prefer now at quarterback for the Steelers, because as we discussed last week, they also signed Russell Wilson. So how are you feeling about Pittsburgh adding Fields to the quarterback room here for 2024?
I have to say, I actually think both on and off the field, this seems to be a really good fit, both culturally, schematically. I think Justin Fields is a perfect fit, especially after bringing in Arthur Smith at offensive coordinator, who, I mean, we've had our gripes with him, obviously, but the man knows how to utilize play action, knows how to utilize a quarterback under center. And I do think that that can fit a lot of what Justin Fields can do. And like, let's not understate the, kind of mentorship that he's going to get from a Super Bowl winning quarterback working ahead of him. I do lean Russell Wilson because I think he's going to bring a lot more stability to the passing game than Justin Fields. And let's be honest, I mean, this is a man who probably was the biggest mismatch in terms of fantasy production versus real life on the football field kind of play, right? Ranked 5th in fantasy points per drop back last season, only behind Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, and Jalen Hurts. Then it was Justin Fields. And I got to say, I think, in 2023, we did see a step up from Justin Fields as a passer. Obviously, I think, DJ Moore, a huge part of that. But I think, the biggest question mark is, can he hold on to the football? Turnovers have really just kind of marked the trajectory of his career. And that's not what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do. They want to control the ball. And I think that's, a part of why they're going to lean Russell Wilson. And obviously they've already said that they're planning to roll with him at quarterback. But I think that that's gonna ultimately, make sure that the edge kind of remains with Russell Wilson here. I don't know that I'm a believer that Justin Fields is ever going to get back into a starting lineup, barring an injury, barring anything. But I do think that this is a really good place for him to hit the reset button, take a step back, and clean up some of these aspects of his game that have generally made it really hard to buy into him as a franchise guy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I mean, it does seem like Russell Wilson is going to be the starter there. And I think that makes sense. You just look at experience and his body of work in the NFL. It makes sense that he'd get the nod there. And Justin Fields can just kind of continue to develop because there's at least potential right there, right? And now they have these 2 quarterbacks with that same potential to have these kind of big games, which is something that they didn't really get the last couple of years, right? From Kenny Pickett. That was one of the struggles, was just getting production out of their quarterback position and turning that into offensive points. And look, both these guys come now with some turnover issues. Russell Wilson more so in recent years than the most of his career. But I think it's a fine trade-off to make for a lot of the big plays that you're getting from potentially both these guys. If there is packages that they want to utilize Justin Fields in, for example, that they can still get more out of his, specifically with his legs, right? And like you said, not going to be a starter. His ADP last year was, I think, a top 8 quarterback, right? So that's not going to happen again. Russell Wilson is going to start the season as the QB1 there, but I don't know. Is there a world where you could see yourself spending like a late round pick on a Justin Fields just in case, right? You never know if he gets an opportunity or what happens with Russell Wilson. We've obviously seen him decline over the recent years, but is there a world where Justin Fields is worth a draft pick in fantasy drafts? Because I mean, obviously the fantasy upside is there, like you said, but is there actually a chance that he gets into a starting lineup?
I don't think that there's going to be enough here. So like I think what is very interesting is that I could see the Pittsburgh Steelers utilizing a Justin Fields in some packages the way that the Saints utilize Taysom Hill. But the caveat there is that Taysom Hill in fantasy football leagues, or at least in most fantasy football platforms, gets tight end eligibility. That gives you incentive. I think, gives you more incentive to roster Taysom Hill than you do with Justin Fields, because I can't put Justin Fields in my tight end spot, even in a super flex league. Like, okay, so let's say we get, you know, a, a red zone package per game. What's the chance of converting that single red zone package into a score? Okay, so like you're throwing a guy into your lineup for what, 6 points. I also think, just from a handcuff perspective, I'm generally not a handcuff your quarterback kind of person, unless this is a dynasty league where, maybe you're in a dynasty super flex where you're not going to find any available bodies on waivers. I'm not buying into Justin Fields in 2023 or 2024. And to be honest, I hope I'm wrong, because I really like Justin Fields, the football player. I think he adds that level of athletic ability. But you know what? Like, for as much as we also want to give Russell Wilson plenty of flack for not being as mobile as he once was, we actually saw him bounce back in a pretty decent way. I mean, the last 2 years, I do think he's dealt with some health issues, a knee injury, a hamstring injury. Saw him actually have the highest number of scrambles since we've seen him in the 2020 season back in Seattle. An 80.3 PFF rushing grade. That's actually the highest of his entire NFL career. And I think a part of that, definitely has to do with the willingness to once again, make some scrambling attempts. And I, I don't know. I'm torn. And, from the Steelers fan in me, I could not be more stoked. But I think for fantasy perspectives, long term, this is not going to be a fit that fantasy managers are happy about, because I just don't think we see Justin Fields hit the field unless things go really, really awry. And I don't know that that's how I project the season going.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. And yeah, just an injury hold at best, I think is a good way to look at it. And yeah, I'm with you. I'm not looking to handcuff the quarterback position at all. I mean, really, unless it's like a potential high end rookie that you're holding, knowing that they're going to get a starting shot later in their rookie season or something over like a kind of journeyman veteran. That's really the only scenario where I would be looking to do it. Potentially not so much here. I mean, it depends how deep rosters are and stuff like that, of course. But in your traditional size fantasy league, uh, it's hard to imagine, barring injury, like you said, Justin Fields kind of taking over as the starter here for Russell Wilson. But not impossible. You never know where the season could go. So